Welcome to the TFW podcast. Today, we are going to talk about wrestling. And we have
Oh shit!
my favorite co-host with me today.
Wow.
We
All right,
have
never mind.
Healthy Pooh.
Never mind. Nope. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Thank you for trying. Don't worry about it. We did an intro. Audio was messed up. I'm like, all right, Rhodesia, start the show, and that was what we got. I don't know if you thought this was some type of talk radio. I don't know if you thought this was
Kinda
like some type of
working
like
for a
smooth
deal.
jazz. Yeah, like that wasn't good though. My apologies. Eshaun, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on?
In the original time we press record, I brought up this ruling that just came down today about the FTC basically banning non-compete clauses. Says that the Federal Trade Commission on Tuesday voted 3-2 in favor of adopting a historic and far-reaching ban on non-compete agreements, potentially giving more leverage in the job market to millions of U.S. workers. So if you're outside the U.S., my apologies, but shout out to you guys. I actually got a listing of like our rankings in all the countries, and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to shout out the wrong country, but it's one of the countries that we are big business out there. So shout out to y'all. Love y'all. Appreciate you. But it talked about on here that the FTC estimated that the ban would boost wages by between $400 billion and $488 billion over 10 years. Now, that is incredible, of course, for the regular folk when we're talking about not being professional wrestlers. That is massive. I know personally of people who have had to sign non-competes when they go to a company, and when they leave, they're kind of just stuck. Like, I've heard of like non-competes as high as like 2 years, 3 years, which is asinine. But from a professional wrestling standpoint, this could take us back to pre-internet days. Because if it's a thing where you lose a job on Monday from said company, you could show up on Tuesday to the competitor. So I'm sure it says in the article that they're going to try to vote to stop this, because of course that puts companies behind the 8 ball if this is the case. But man, how cool would that be for us to not have known about a Jade Cargill signing beforehand, not have known about a Will Ospreay or a Kata or whoever. I think this could be fantastic. This could be really, 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 really cool.
Because I'm not a large business owner and I've still just been like an employee, I love this idea. I think that it should always be this way. I think that I've actually had to sign a 2-year non-compete before where I could not bring any of my clients that I had before. And if they found out, they would have to probably find out in order for me to get in trouble, but I could be they could have sought a lawsuit out on me. So for me, being just on the other side of it, I love this. If you are let go, or if you decide to end your tenure somewhere, you should be able to go somewhere else and not be held captive for that, whatever, 90 days or up to 2 years. So I love that idea. Now, of course, when we make it big time and we are the business owners, maybe we would appreciate it a little bit more. But right now, I'm not at that point. I'm all for this.
I love it. I always think that wrestlers should get more rights in general. You know, hey, cool. This is a wrestling podcast. Great for all the average Joes just like us. But I want to talk about some wrestling, how this affects some wrestlers. Great. Kudos. Right? These guys know, well, in WWE's case, right? We got poor Cameron Grimes.
Mhm.
Cameron Grimes, he's going to land on his feet soon. I don't know, Matt.
Trevor Lee, man, I hated to see that.
He's going to land on his feet sooner than later, man. He was too talented. I'm not sure what the problem, why he wasn't being used. But anyway, with this, if this thing goes in effect like now, like, right, we can see him pop up on AEW. Just imagine, all right, he done had this heartfelt like video, right? He pops up on AEW TV, and he doesn't have to necessarily go in and cut this shoot promo about WWE. He just come out there and just bust his hump like he said he was going to do, right? And everybody will be in there watching, because we felt a little something for that man after seeing that video. And that'd be awesome to see on Wednesday. What if this is popping off tomorrow? He can show up and have a match. He can have a banger match, right? Show up on TNA. I think it's great because, like, we talk about these wrestlers, they're independent contractors, but they have so many restrictions in their contract of what they can, they can't do. They sound like employees to me, like, right? So we can give a little something back to these guys, right? We can give a little something back to these wrestlers. They can give a little something back to us. I think I'm all for it.
Yeah, because it's not needed anymore, right? Like, we don't need you sitting at home. Why? For 90 days.
Because they want to cool them off. That's why. They want to cool them off. They don't want Trevor Lee showing up on AEW TV after a heartfelt video.
Don't release him then. All
For
right,
real.
like
Exactly.
don't release him then. Somebody who's not released, the opposite, Finn Balor. Said on Monday, he wrote a whole big paragraph on social media where it sounded like he was about to leave, and then he was just like, I ain't going nowhere. Word comes out, it is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal, big money deal for Finn. So shout out to Finn. Nice for him to get that. And then I saw a guy earlier on social media. He was a hater of it. I don't know if he was just an AEW fan or what, but he was going in on Finn, and he may have gave Finn Balor the best, hardest nickname in the history of pro wrestling.
Which is?
He called him Prince Devitt. That is a fire nickname. His name is Prince Devitt with a V as in Victor. He called him Prince Devitt as in B as like a credit card.
But
print those t-shirts up right now.
I still don't get it though. I mean, so a debit is to take away from something. So Finn is actually gives to the company. So I guess I'm a little confused on how land.
Yeah, he's talking about debit instead of money.
Money.
He's saying he's debiting money. You know, he's.
And that was an insult.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an insult. I was like, dude, you just messed up because you best believe that was AEW. Them shirts would be started printing today. But yeah, so that's interesting though. I'm excited to see where that plays out, particularly, of course, from a pro wrestling perspective, because outside of us being so enthralled in this, the lack of surprises does hurt at times, right? Where you kind of wish, like, that's why, like, come Rumble season, I typically stay off the internet that weekend. I don't want to know who's in town. You know what I mean? Because typically something like that leaks. Like, I don't think we knew about Jordan Grace actually competing in the Rumble.
No, we didn't know about that.
I didn't.
We've had quite a few surprises this year, though.
Yeah.
This year's been, 2023, I would say maybe, right?
Yep.
Was that 2024?
So, like, imagine being able to have that all year round. Yeah, we can still find out the backstage news of, you know, pushes or all that kind of stuff. But, like, if it comes to, like, people signing, if this can happen, it's going to restore some of that feeling.
You know what kind of reminds me of? We had two of these situations back in the Attitude Era, right? One, when Luger showed up on WCW.
Huge.
Right?
Huge.
Like, no one expected him to be on WCW TV. And the second was a smaller one. It was when Rick Rude showed up, popped up on. Yeah, he wrestled on. He wrestled on both shows because WWE was or WWF at the time was pre-taped. So Rick Rude pops up on Nitro Live.
Awesome.
Same day. It was interesting.
Clean shaven, and he was on Raw at the same moment with a full beard.
When Medusa went over and threw her title in the trash, was that along the same lines? Or did we?
Yes, because we didn't know she was going to WCW.
Okay, but you knew her contract was up.
Oh,
so I wasn't super. I think I might just start getting into the dirt sheets at that time, but I don't know about necessarily.
I don't know if we knew her contract was up because, like, how would we know? And if we didn't know her contract was up, you had no idea she was going to go on Nitro and throw the title belt in the trash. It's funny being like, you just think about the things you can come back from in wrestling. You know, Bret Hart punching Vince. He was back in WWE. Medusa, Lunger Blaze, throwing the championship away on the competitor's show that was kicking WWE's ass. She was invited back. We'll see where this lands with any of the scandals and such that we see now in WWE. But wrestling is just one of those things where it's like, you legit can never say never.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we never saw Macho Man come back, but I think that, you know, I think if he lived long enough, I think that those bridges wouldn't be mended. He would have came back at some point, especially for like a Hall of Fame type of deal. I definitely wouldn't think he would have been back in the company at some point.
Is he a Hall of Famer? He's not, is he?
I don't recall. At least
I don't think he is, right? Because who would have inducted him?
I looked at it.
That's true. Well, guess what? Nasty Vince. What? Look, we don't know why he ain't there. Maybe
remember the rumor was.
You know what the rumor was.
Remember the rumor was. May not have anything to do with it.
Like we have
Stephanie's
no idea,
back, so he definitely may not be.
That's
China.
That's
may
true.
Be banished for the history of the business. Episode 128. That's freaking wrestling. Hopefully this comes out on time. So shout out to everybody who was looking for our pod on Sunday, and we were MIA. Not because we didn't do the pod. We actually recorded the pod earlier than we typically record on Sundays. We was going to have it out to you guys in a good space, in a good spot. And Riverside decided to not want to work again for us. So we are going to figure this out. We promise. But hopefully you get this one like you're supposed to, and everything looks and sounds beautiful. Check us out on YouTube. That's Freaking Wrestling. Check us out on X and Instagram and TikTok. That's FNW. We all over the place. So you guys know the deal at this point. Tell a friend, tell a family member. 3 the hard way. 5-star reviews, comments, all that kind of good stuff. All right,
my entrance is way better than that. Just so you know.
But it wasn't though.
Okay.
But okay.
Hey, but I don't know to believe this or not because Terry's all in it. But allegedly, Randy Savage was inducted by Hulk Hogan. So in 2015-ish, 2015, 2016.
Yes.
So,
yep.
So there you go. But this might be fake.
No, it's not. Now, he probably has a revisionist history of how it came to be that he was one that inducted him. You know what?
Wait a minute, weren't y'all there?
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, y'all think I was there. I didn't go.
Yeah,
I don't do Hall of Fame, so I think I did something else. I think I went to like was that in Florida?
I have no idea.
Texas.
I don't believe anything I see with Hogan, so these pictures I'm looking at is probably fake.
It's funny because I actually would not be opposed of like a podcast of Hogan and just like revisionist history. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And like Hogan, just tell us about the time you inducted Macho Man into the Hall of Fame and just let him go for like 50 minutes. Don't even ask another question. When he stops talking is when you just like cut the show and just see what type of gold he would get us. I'm sure he would have said like right after the Mega Powers exploded, Macho Man came to him and said, when I die, no matter what type of drama we have, brother, you have to be the one that inducts me into the Hall of Fame. I am sure it is something that good.
Hey, we should have Hogan on the podcast. We can have him on the podcast so he can rebuild his reputation with the black community. He can apologize to African Americans all over the world for his racist behavior.
And I can send him the photo when we met each other. Like, look, dude, you was cool
here. I know
here.
it's in there. I know it's in there.
Right, look, I know it's in there, man. Just got to pull it out of you. Let's start with, I want to start with Dynasty because it was Sunday. Thought it was fantastic. Thought it was, of course, better than Raw. Raw was not the best show. And it's funny because, folks, it is okay to, and if you liked Raw, great. Not crapping on your opinions or thoughts of it. It's okay, though, to say something isn't the best. Everything doesn't have to be fantastic because it's WWE or it's AEW. Of course, everything doesn't always have to suck either. But it is okay when something's not clicking. Like that first 45 minutes or so of that Raw show was not good. It wasn't at all. And it's okay to say that. It picked up toward the end, which we'll get all into that. But E, did you watch all of Dynasty?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, you know where I want to start. I want to start with our main event.
There you go.
We can get to Swerve's title win because I've been avoiding having that serious conversation about Swerve. And now that he's champion, we wouldn't be doing our job if we don't discuss that serious part of Swerve's past and maybe why his title win wasn't looked at in the best light among black folks. So we got to hit that. But I do want to start with Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. E, I know you are not into talking about matches of the year or saying that's one of the best matches you've ever seen or really anything when it comes to like excitement immediately after a match because of the match quality itself. But I got to start with you on this one because this was actually they exceeded my expectations. And I thought this was going to be the match of the year. I don't know of any other match that will exceed this, but I do know if it does, Will Ospreay will be involved in said match. When you're talking about from bell to bell, what was your thoughts about Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson?
We really got to start having these production meetings a little bit tighter. I really wish you didn't throw to me first because I liked the match, but I don't think I liked it as much as the wrestling community did, just to be honest with you, for the very reasons. It moves for move, great. It actually was a spot I really enjoyed. And I don't always use the wrestling terms correctly. I always kind of felt like I wasn't supposed to use them. So I never really learned how to use them all right. But when Ospreay went for I heard somebody say his name. I think it was Mark Henry. And Mark Henry, I love Mark Henry, but he a country guy. he don't always say things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. I'm from the hood. I'm a thug. I get it. You can't always say the words the right way all the time. But he called him Will
He did 30
Ospreay.
seconds in.
Is it Ospreay?
No,
Or is it
it's
Ospreay?
It's Ospreay.
Is it Ospreay?
Or you could be like Adam Copeland and call him Ospreay.
He kept calling him like, and he kept saying it like he was correcting the viewer, like Will Ospreay. So I'm like, oh, am I saying it wrong?
No, anyway, it's Ospreay.
So Will's going for the Ospreay cutter, right? And then he's flying back, like Bryan gets up and like this awesome trajectory, just boom with that knee, and this was like a perfect spot. And I remember jumping out of my seat a little bit, like right. And there were quite a few of those moments in that match. So for hold for hold, really great match. It probably, I would say, was the match of the night, of course. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't see Swerve's match. I only saw the end. I couldn't do it, y'all.
That's why I asked you if you watched the whole thing.
That was too goddamn long. Like as soon as Joe came out, Big Daddy eyes closed, man.
Eyes closed, and went to sleep.
Oh my God, I couldn't. I was trying to hang in there. I don't think I had the tea, but I woke up just in time to see, the end of the match, which was fantastic. So I don't know. I can't compare those two, but I would imagine, and I knew going in that those two were going to have a barn burner. But yeah, it was a really good match. I'm not ready to say it was the match of the year, but we could do that, at the end of the year. We have our rewards.
To do it in 8 months, 9 months, whatever it is.
Yeah. Definitely a great match, though.
Definitely match of the night. And 5-star match. Again, I'm so biased for Ospreay, but what I found unique in this match here, opposed to or comparable to the Kenny matches, Kenny and Ospreay maybe move a little bit faster. And the beautiful thing with Bryan is that he's a little bit more of a technician. He does some locks and grapples that I don't really care for because it makes it go slower. But it made me almost appreciate a slower style, methodical match more than I ever had. Mainly because it's Bryan and it's Will Ospreay. But this match was like a different level, and it almost showed kind of like a maturity level or maturation of Will Ospreay to me, as far as in the ring, where you didn't have to go super move for move, like maybe him and Kenny would hit each other with. I thought that this was such a beautiful match where it did rely on some wrestling. It relied on some storytelling. And then kind of ended the night with, and even at the press conference, Will Ospreay saying he's retiring the Tiger Driver, which I think is cool. I didn't think that it was dangerous. I didn't think it was dangerous in any way, but hey, I mean, if evidently he feels that way for a reason. Again, it's a work with Bryan Danielson being injured, but I personally thought that this match showed me a level of Will Ospreay where now I can see him having a long career in wrestling. Whereas maybe before now, again, he's probably, I'm going to call him 30. I don't know how old he is, but his timeline of wrestling would be shortened because of some of the moves that he does. But today showed, or last week showed me that he actually can be around for a long time and still be just as exciting, have just intense moves like he still does. But because it's more matured, he can slow it down. Again, going against Bryan, who's one of the best to ever do it, it's still possible. So that's kind of what I got from this. But again, it's still an amazing match. My match of the night.
Ospreay just he never ceases to amaze me in his matches. And of course, there was a lot of conversation online about, man, Triple H really dropped the ball on not signing Ospreay, or WWE's really missing out. All right, let's just stop. Like, they're fine. They're going to be fine. Like, no, he's where he needs to be, because you don't get that match in WWE. You don't probably get that match anywhere but New Japan. So for us to be able to have that here in the United States, where we can see Ospreay work at a high level consistently, let's just like chill out on the whole he should have gone here, right? Like, they're fine, man. They have enough. They got Julia, they got Jay, like they got Finn now. They are set in WWE. So let's kind of like just stamp that. But watching him, he's my favorite wrestler. I said that I thought he was wrestler of the year last year. 2 matches in, if you take out the Cody Rhodes of it all, of winning Mania. Ospreay is my wrestler of the year already in 2024, based off of 2, incredible pay-per-view matches. He's had a few on Dynamite that were fantastic, but he has a way of, we talk a lot about like Gunther and how you don't know how a match is going to finish because Gunther can finish you in different ways. And Ospreay has that same style of his match, but you can always tell when Ospreay turns it up to that 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then maybe 6th gear. There was a spot in this match with Bryan, and it was just a regular spot if you just watch wrestling, but it was a spot where he goes for a move, and I think he legit runs across the ring to set up his next offensive move. That's not a thing that you just see in wrestling.
Mm-mm.
And that's not taught in the WWE circle. So it's possible he could have signed to WWE and he would have went to the PC and they said, hey man, look, this is kind of how we do our spots to spots, right? Like we're signing you because you're incredible, but maybe switch this a little bit. He still has a little bit of work to do when it comes to maybe a tiny bit of the level of selling at times, but I think his psychology is fantastic. I think he is smart in the ring. And when you're in there with Bryan, we know what Bryan is. Bryan just hasn't won a championship in AEW. So that drops this run down for me. But if you probably looked at his matches, he's on an all-time run. From his first match in AEW to now, it has been ridiculous. But for me, just topping off that match, I was just like, this guy he's a perfect wrestler, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing he can't do inside the ring. And I think when AEW puts the belt on him, they need to promote him like they've never promoted another AEW talent yet in the existence of that company. I think he can be that important that if you don't watch AEW, maybe you don't know AEW's around, but you see a Will Ospreay match, you are like, you know what? I'm locked in on that guy. I have to watch next week or I have to watch next pay-per-view to see what he does because he is incredible. I think he's that good. My only negative, and I understand it actually, so it was a negative to me with the injury angle. Mm-hmm. But I like that they did it because we know how dangerous the Tiger Driver is supposed to be. Bryan took it perfectly. There was no issues. He's not hurt. He took it perfectly. But I love that he's retiring it because when he does it again, it's going to have even more impact. And this also gives Bryan a story now. Bryan's already said this is my last year. I don't know how deep or how far they're going to go into this I'm hurt injury angle. I don't know if Bryan's going to take it out on Ospreay. But now, for the rest of the calendar year, Bryan has a story that he can gravitate to surrounding his health. I think that's great. I did think, though, it took a little bit away from the match because when he hit the Tiger Driver and they kind of came in and rushed, it kind of just took you out of the moment a little bit, and then he hits his finish and then we go home. But that was the one thing that I was kind of like, I could have done without it, but I appreciate and I like the reason why they did do it. Mm-hmm. So that was incredible.
Will Ospreay is going to be a star, man. He's going to be a star for that company. Great signing for them. I love the energy and passion that he brings to that company. Like on the microphone and in the ring, he's just going to be a phenomenal for him. But the only thing I will have, I didn't really there's a lot of the spots that you mentioned. I didn't necessarily have a problem with it, but for me, which would have took it to the next level, just for me as a viewer, because I'm an old man that yells in the cloud. Just imagine I actually care for any of the near finishes. And I didn't care because I wasn't into the match. It's just that I wasn't invested in either Bryan. I would have been fine that either one of them won, right? Like with Will winning, okay, cool. If Bryan won, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So when it's the near finishes, I just didn't have a sense of dread for either one of them, or a sense of okay, cool, Will's about to win this, or oh, cool, okay, Bryan's about to win this. And that's what that match was missing for me. Just imagine if there was a story, or if people legitimately, had a fight. I had a dog in the fight. Mm-hmm. I don't think people had a dog in the fight. I think we witnessed a great match, maneuver, two great athletes at it, but there was just no drama for a winner or a loser to that match. That was one of those we all win matches. and that's great. Like, right. But for me, it's always been about like, heroes and villains, and you got to root for somebody. Like, right. So we talk about like the Joe and Swerve. There's a little bit more emotional investment in that match for some. Like, right. They were building towards something. But for that one, it was just a kind of a feel good match. So just imagine if they have a rematch and maybe Bryan Danielson is out for blood and they tell that story. And now you want to see, and maybe at that point, maybe Danielson, who I think is phenomenal. I love his heel work. Just imagine if he's a heel and he's actually, coming at Will, right? Will's his big fan favorite. But when he finally turns, right? Because he hasn't really turned yet, I guess, right? He's still with the heel faction, and they're still kind of telling that story. Once Will is firmly established as a face, maybe Danielson is firmly established as a heel. He's coming after him. He wants revenge. Now you have a dog in the fight. Now you actually care who wins, loses, and matches. On top of you get another quote unquote match of the year candidate. It'll mean more to me, but I get that a lot of people, it doesn't. We all win in that match, right? And I get that for a lot of people, but just imagine if there's a little bit more at stake in that match.
It'll be really close to Omega and Ospreay at Forbidden Door last year, when Ospreay just couldn't beat Omega, and Omega's like, "Man, I'm coming to your world, but you couldn't hold it down during COVID. I'm the champ," and then you get that. So like that first match maybe was more to what you're saying, E, with what we saw on Sunday. But then if they ever lock up again, now, okay, it's the investment of, can this guy even beat this guy? Right? Like whatever that thing looks like. So yeah, I can see that.
And just one last thing about Will. Like so one of the knocks is like he wrestles the AEW style. But he's doing it differently. Like there's a different
man.
Level that he does it. Like, right. And that's just really stands out. Like, yeah, a lot of guys wrestle that high flying style, but not the way he does it. Not the way he does it. And like I said, with energy that he brings, we can like wish that, Will should have went to WWE, right? But sometimes you are in the place you need to be. I think Swerve is better in AEW. I think Will, with this run, I think he's unfiltered, because some people are better unfiltered. Like, right, let them be them in the environment, and he can shine. Not saying that the machine certainly couldn't have helped Will, but I think the run that he's on right now, I think he's in the right place for him right now. And then whenever his contract is up, right, if he chooses to take that season, Will Ospreay on the microphone in the ring, look out, whoever signs him.
My last bit on Will Ospreay, and we can move on. I did, when he was signed over to AEW, I wanted him to go to WWE because of two things that I was worried about. I kind of already touched on about the longevity of his career, and then his mic skills. He's shown to us here at AEW that he can go on the mic. And when he get his at-bats, he's usually knocking it out of the park. At the very least, is showing passion. Watching that match again with Bryan, it showed me and told me, hey, he can still be just as intense as his matches, but slowing it down. And that's why I thought that at WWE, they could bring that part out of him. But like you said, he could have went to the PC and they could say, hey, we don't do that here. We don't do this here at WWE. You can go on was it Friday nights and go do that. But point is,
hey, I guarantee he would have went to the main roster. I don't think he would have went to NXT, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, but regardless, I could definitely see someone saying, "Hey, we don't wrestle like that here." So to me, my reasons why I wanted him to go to WWE, he's already dressed it for me. He showed me he can talk, and again, you're only going to get better at it the more you do it. And then again, he showed me he can still have just an intense match, my kind of style of match, but also slow it down, and it still stays exciting throughout the match.
And we had those conversations months ago surrounding, it was him and Jay White, who was on the pre-show again for pay-per-view. I had said I wanted Jay White to go to WWE, and I wanted Ospreay to go to AEW, and we're seeing in real time why I said that. Ospreay's fine. Could he be bigger in WWE? Maybe, sure. Who cares? Because he's being done right in AEW. And I think they're going to have to figure out how to, and I'm sure they have. I'm going to trust Tony Khan on this, that he's figured out why Ospreay is not challenging for the title sooner than what he's going to be. They
You know what?
got to figure that out.
I think so. Think about like TK. Like he gets locked in on certain characters, like Orange Cassidy, like right, and he kind of those characters he locks in on. He does them justice. I think he's locked in on Will Ospreay. I think Will Ospreay is the type of wrestler that he covets and appreciates. I think he's going to do everything he can to make sure that he's successful. But man, you talk about Jay White. I can imagine the matches that Jay White and Will Ospreay can have.
Yeah.
Because Jay is a true heel, right? He ain't trying to get people to like him. Like he gonna come in there being heel, and that's the type of heel that Will needs.
Exactly.
Right? He needs somebody because like Will is a naturally likable guy. Like Rhodesia spoke to it about his mic. Because I don't think he's great on the microphone, but I think his passion, the passion that he expressed, comes across great on the mic. You're like his energy and his passion, you feel it. And I think that style is great. It works for him. Just imagine he had like a really swarmy heel, right? Not even necessarily Adam Cole. Adam Cole is a true heel, but he has like a lot of face manner. Like he has a lot of chants he does and things of that nature. He can get people to like him.
He's back. He's back.
Yeah.
And he's back. He can stand up and walk now.
Yeah.
But just imagine like Jay White, right? Who's just a despicable, swarmy heel against a Will Ospreay, man. Like they can have some great matches just because you want to see Will beat this dude.
Yeah. Yep. And I do think we'll get there, but to your point, surrounding just like the people who are Tony's locked in on, my worry though is the Swerve piece of how he's potentially going to come across as a transitional champion. I've said it since December. We're on pace to what I thought. I said put the belt on Swerve, have him beat Joe, and then we get Ospreay and Swerve at All In, and then you crown Ospreay as your guy in his home country and in front of your second biggest, largest crowd in AEW history. But if we do that, we're 4 months out. Now, 4 months is not a transitional period because Joe has had it for 4 months. And I don't think anybody will look at Joe and say that run was a transitional run. I think that run, we could maybe look back at it and say how important that run was because he really brought stability to the AEW championship. I think he brought credibility to the AEW championship. And yeah, MJF had a great run too. His was, of course, marred by some bad creative and some injuries. But Joe was like that constant, right? Like no matter, Joe can lose 100 matches in a row. Joe wins one match and you're like, oh, Joe's that dog. He's that guy.
He's that credible,
so, yeah. So like, shout out to Joe for bringing that to that championship because it doesn't mean as much to Swerve if he beat him if Joe was not a good champion. And that match was what it was. I thought the match was really good. I mean, for me, the show, I told you guys I wasn't locked in at all in terms of like how I felt about this pay-per-view. They start with Okada and Pac. I'm watching it knowing this is a good match. I just don't care. So, that kind of speaks to probably how you felt a little bit with Bryan and Ospreay. I'm watching the second match, which I think was the trios match. They gave him almost a half hour. I'm watching it knowing this, okay, they're working hard. This is a good match. I just don't care. I didn't start caring until Willow won the title. So that was one of the matches I said I was invested in, which was a super quick match. Quick. That was kind of surprising on that. Mercedes comes out. So we are agreeing Mercedes is a heel, right?
She has to be.
No.
She has to
What?
be.
She's a baby.
She's a heel, dude.
Who said she's a
They're
baby?
trying to build her character
actions
as a heel. People are going to cheer for her, so I guess maybe she's a face if you look at it that way. But they're trying to build her as a heel. When she first came back, like you could feel the smoke that she was trying to bring to Willow. Faces don't do that.
Wait a minute. Willow
Let's talk
had
about
the
it.
chair.
Let's talk about it.
Right? And she was pretending like she was about to hit her for like 25 minutes until she turned around.
That was only after she felt that energy from Mercedes.
She was protecting herself.
Only
What
after
energy?
Mercedes.
Y'all are making up energy.
No.
Willow,
Mercedes, even in their backstage interview, she's like, hold on, nobody's even talking to you. However she did it, she brought all the smoke.
No, look. I like TK. I really do like TK. Y'all are trying to act like I like TK. I love to hang out with him. I don't like. I just
That's
don't.
why you love that tea.
I just don't do drugs.
We talking about.
I do tea.
I
do tea.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, anybody who heard Sunday's episode knows that evidently you do drugs. You do drugs.
Drugs.
I did.
You was on one.
So I did put a little cinnamon in here.
No.
Is that what they calling it now?
Is that what they call out there in Atlanta? They call it cinnamon.
Stop it. Hey, look. I can barely drink a Mike's Hard Lemonade. Y'all think I'm doing hard drugs over here?
Well,
But
one's
going
a
back
downer,
to
You
okay.
TK.
Look, one's a downer,
self-incriminated
one's an
yourself.
upper.
Wait, hold on. You self-incriminated yourself on last episode. You said I got this burst of energy for 10 to 15 minutes. I'm dialed into every word you said. I could actually
You were
see
on
your
fire.
words moving with it. And come on, sounds like a trip
That's
at
some
that
good
point.
ass tea. Hey, I'm gonna actually write into this company. We gonna get them on some ass now, goddamn it. That's some
Yeah,
good stuff.
you know what? No,
Look at
no
that.
doubt,
We gonna get that
because
stuff.
how you were, I would try that tea. I don't even drink
Look.
tea.
Look, let's get some focused tea, yo. But look, y'all can't clean it up, TK. That woman is brought in as a baby face, and they was doing something weird with Willow, likable Willow, right? She can't even heel off of the chair, right? Because she still looked like I want to go in there and hug her when she was holding that damn chair, like right. It just didn't look right. I don't know what they're doing. She comes out week after week. She's trying to get them to chant the CEO. You know, she got the little shimmy dance. You know, she's doing trying to get them. She's trying to make herself a baby Bruce.
Not against Willow, who's your most likable character on your television show.
Hey,
She
I
wins the
don't write
championship.
this shit. They write
She
that.
wins the championship clean. Mercedes comes out and steps on her moment. That's why I was like, okay, if I had any thoughts, and I think this is the right call with Mercedes going heel. Like Mercedes is too big
Because she's a
to
heel.
be. Yeah, she's too big to be a baby face. She's an outsider. You can tell that entire story, right? But
Her
when
whole
she came out
character's a
and
heel.
when she came out and interrupted, well, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. All right, she's a heel, so we get to see that double or nothing. But so Swerve and Joe. So what I was saying when I was kind of connecting those dots, it was about when my emotional investment kicked up. So when they announced the Dream match was next, I was like, okay, now the pay-per-view is here for me. This is what I care about. These next 3 matches, and I included the ladder matches because I knew the ladder matches would be really good. The Bucks that come out, I think maybe this past Friday, and said that this was going to be their last ladder match. They worked. They weren't wrestling another ladder match again. So if you take that
Good for them.
as gospel, you could see it in their work.
Okay.
And I tweeted it. Dax, he's a madman. He was launching himself through ladders, through tables, beautiful violence. But for me, that was when I locked in on it. And so when we get to the main event, of course I was emotionally invested because I wanted to see Swerve win. Like when they came out, I was like, okay, Swerve's winning the title. You don't cap this show off, and that doesn't happen. Really good match. He wins it. I do want to talk about what I alluded to, though. We had never brought it up. Really, even like in our group chats, we touched on it a little bit, and we kind of like let it go a little bit. So there's a lot of discourse, and I get it, particularly with black folks about Swerve winning. And it is, hey, why should we be happy for him when he doesn't champion us? So if you guys don't know, just real quick, there was a black wrestler ranking that he was a part of last year, and he didn't like where he was ranked. And he kind of let it be known he didn't like where it was ranked. And kind of how he stated it was on some, you could look at it as like hate with some of the other folks. And people took it as, oh, you're hating on other black wrestlers. Then he doubled down, and there was that video clip that came out where I don't know if he was the rapper on the song or he was just rapping it, but there was a line that he shot himself saying, and it was, and I'm with a girl and she's black and ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Never came out and really addressed that. He did kind of address a little bit with the black wrestler ranking, him and Mello, which was one of the people that he kind of said something, I guess you could say it was against. They took a photo together and just like, I forgot what the caption was, maybe all kings can eat or something to that effect. I don't know what it was, but so that, helped a little bit, but he never really addressed either one of those two things the way I thought he should have addressed it. So even leading up to this, when we would talk about him, we would talk about first ever black AEW champion. I'm always going to champion that just because anytime there could be a first ever anything when it comes to diversity or inclusion, I'm always going to do it no matter what race, creed, sex, anything, right? But I was at a point when like as soon as he won, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting now because I don't know how I feel fully in that moment. And then going on social media on Monday, it was a ton of, or actually Sunday night and Monday, ton of conversation around it. So not that we don't talk about serious topics here, or we try to run away from it. I'll be honest, I kind of ran away from this one because I didn't know how I felt. So I didn't want to ever bring it up on the pod and just be like, well, I don't know, because that's kind of like a scapegoat, right? But we got to address it now because we're here. And I say we're here just because he's now the champion, and we got to kind of have that conversation. So what's your guys' thoughts about, well, how about this? What is your perception? How do you feel now with Swerve being the champion? Are you championing it as much as you would any other first ever black champ? Are you reserved a little bit because of that? Or are you kind of off it where, hey, good for him, but I'm personally off of it?
I'm going to take this into two different responses. The first one, absolutely. This is actually the first time I've ever seen like a first African-American champion winning it. I think not Jazz. I forgot who won the
Kofi.
women's.
You
No.
were there for Kofi?
Oh, okay. I forgot about Kofi. Okay. No, I do remember that. Sorry. And then who was it? It's not Jazz. The first woman's WWE black champion. I don't think it was Jazz. It was Jackie. Whomever.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
she had the title for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
I wasn't watching it, like I wasn't outside when she first won it. I forgot about Kofi, but I was about to say that I haven't really experienced this. And I think maybe why I forgot about Kofi is because we kind of talked about this a couple episodes ago. That run was kind of just like, here you go. This is for your history. Have a nice day kind of thing. It just didn't feel maybe as good. Here, 100%, I'm so happy that he won the championship. I think he deserves it. I think, was it maybe a little bit too early because there were still some things that maybe that people wanted to see out of Swerve before he became champion? Whatever. People always going to have something to say. 100% happy for that. And I'm excited that people are going to be able to tune into AEW and see a black man champion, like a black man with black hair. So that's important. That representation is important. The second part that I want to mention, the whole ranking of the black wrestlers, I don't know anything about that, so I'm only going to speak then from the part about the black and ugly line. Now, we know that there are rappers who completely disrespect women all the time. They disrespect black women all the time. And I kind of feel like this is like the squeaky wheel gets the oil kind of thing. That's where the attention comes. I still had a really bad problem with that. I felt disrespected because I am a black woman. So a black woman, is she ugly? I mean, we don't even need to put that out there. We do have to be a bit conscious of what we put out on social media. He posted it. So it's not like somebody else did it. He posted it. So to me, we never even talked about it really outside of, hey, did you see that video within our group chats? Because I wanted to make sure I internalized it. And one, I wasn't being a feminist and a black feminist at that. I was still trying to keep the two of them separate because it means to him, it's important to him to be the first black champion. So clearly he understands the importance of that. I am still conflicted with it. I still have a problem that he did that and he posted that. And I think he ended up deleting it. And I think the internet gave him the business too. Like, this is the guy that y'all want to be a champion. Again, some things can be separated, but I did have a problem with it. And I still do have a problem with that came out. Because again, we already as black women already playing from behind. So when you have something like that just added more like, dang, you supposed to be like representing for me. You supposed to be my king. You supposed to help lift me up. We supposed to be doing this together. And I don't get that from him. Again, he's not my responsibility or I'm not his responsibility. But to me, as far as where I stand morally with somebody, I did not think that was cool. And I haven't heard of any kind of apologies. And it sounds like maybe he hasn't really addressed it either. So I am conflicted there. But as the first part of the question, absolutely happy that he won it and that he was the first black African-American champion for AEW.
Yeah, you know I'm a Swerve fan, so you know where I stand on him on his reign. As far as his comments, let's be honest. We say stupid shit all the time. People get on Twitter, black folks, two other black folks, and we say stupid shit all the time. And some people, just because you're in the spotlight don't make you a leader. That you don't understand what your shine and how it affects other people. He's young. Said some stupid shit. We know we got friends who say stuff all the time. Privately, like publicly. It's all I can't speak for the man. I don't know what he meant when he said that. I don't know if he said it. I don't know if it was one of his rhymes. We don't know what he mean by that. Like, right? Like we have no idea. It don't sound good. The optics don't sound good. It don't look good. He never addressed it. But again, we don't know what was in his heart and what he meant by that. I have no idea. It sounds stupid, to be honest with you. But at the same time, like I said, like, man, look, we do it all the time. Does that make it okay? Hell no, it don't. Right? Should he come out and address it? That's on him. Like, right? If he feels in his heart, he should come out and say why he said that line, what it was about, what he meant by it. I think he has children. I think one of their mothers is black, I believe. I could be wrong. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's in that man's heart, what he meant by it. It sounds stupid. And like I said, not all black people are leaders in this community. Like, right? And maybe he doesn't understand what his spotlight means in this community or on the black wrestling community. I don't know. Was I super offended by it? Not really, but because, like I said, like I'm almost like I don't. He doesn't have a history of saying stupid stuff. Like the rankings of the black wrestler. Like hell, I told you I was in line with Booker T. I talked to him. I said, "Hey man, are you the greatest? Do you think you're the greatest black wrestler in history?" He's like, "Man, I don't see myself as a black wrestler." Like, right? And so we had a long conversation about that, and I was like, "Hey, look, it's just great that I can show my sons, somebody who looks like them made it at a high level." Like, but see, it ain't about that, right? So we just had a conversation. I'm trying to listen to him so I can know what he means by what he says, whatever, right? So I'm not saying I'm giving him a pass. I think it was a bad look. He took it down, obviously, so he knew it was a bad look. And I don't know what's in his heart, and maybe he should address it. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. It depends on how he feels. I'm not gonna tell another man how he should feel. I'm going to support him as an older black man, like, right. I'm gonna support him, and I hope that he learns to live in the spotlight that he has, and he does a little bit better next time.
I will admit too that I was completely biased in that because and again, this is ignorance, but this is getting in front of mine. When that came out, I look at who I knew his last girlfriend to be, and she wasn't a black woman. So unfortunately, people kind of get caught up in that kind of stuff. So if the only people that I know that you've dated is not black, and then this come out, she's black and ugly, it just, to me, infuriates me more. Again, I don't know about his kids. I don't know who he's with, who he's making love with and having sex with. But to me, that just got me even more hyped. Like,
but she also was a woman of color, though, too.
Yeah, but she wasn't a black woman. And in this rhyme, he says she's black and ugly. So to me, that is, insulting to me. And I really had a problem with that. But like, you're right. I mean, again, not everybody can be a role model. I think about Rihanna. And when she first came out, she's like, please don't look at me. She can't multiple interviews. I am not your children's role model. Like, I'm a woman. I'm a young adult. I want to do what I want to do and have fun. I'm not your child's role model. But he pulled it down. I'm going to have to just, at this point, move forward with him because outside of this, and again, I knew nothing about the black wrestlers top listing. I don't know anything about that. So maybe I might feel different because I only knew just the black and ugly chick part. I'm going to just have to say, hey, everybody that tap my bad, that'll be his. And let's see what he does from there. My only worry or my only pushback I would say is the difference with Booker T. Swerve is promoting that he is the first African-American champion. So whereas Booker T, from your experience, he's like, no, I don't even want to look at it like that. I call that a little bit differently because Swerve is saying that he is the first African-American champion. So,
and that's the thing. If you were doing like a pros and cons list, or hey, like which side should I be on? He wrote them down. That would be the side of, hey, maybe he didn't mean. Maybe he just didn't know how stupid it was that he said what he said because of that. Because he was leaning into, I'm going to be the first black wrestler. Now, somebody who doesn't like Swerve can easily say, well, yeah, that's his gateway of becoming a champion. He doesn't really care about the culture, which I know he cares about the culture. He doesn't care about his people.
Absolutely.
He doesn't care about his people. He just wants to say he can be the first black champ so he can get that moniker. So I still don't know, to be honest, because he does champion it a lot. He does a ton with bringing eyes on hip hop and everything we know as the culture that we enjoy and we appreciate, and what he brings on camera. I just wish he would have had. I wish he would have. And if this is how he feels, then that's how he feels. So I also got to be careful too, because what I want to say is, man, I just wish he would have owned up to his mistake and then apologized. But if he doesn't see anything wrong, I also don't like being in a world where you apologize for things if you don't think there's something wrong either. So
Absolutely,
I mean,
'cause you may not
he
like
took down
black women.
he took down the post.
Mhm.
It's just that, like I said, like we don't know what's in the man's heart, or we don't know what he was smoking or sipping on when he did it. A lot of people do stupid things online, right? You should put that phone down when you're doing your thing.
So happy for him. Congrats to Swerve. Of course, from a professional perspective, holy hell, has he deserved it. Nobody can take that away.
Bravo.
I remember seeing him working one of his last indie dates, and just telling him, like, dude, like, I've been kind of following you for a while, man. Like, you're on the ups. And seeing him now, like, super skinny guy coming out to Shaka Khan, ain't nobody, right? To seeing where he's at now, it's really, really cool. So congrats to him. Shout out to him.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he can mend some fences, because I do think it's important to be the voice and the face of who you are saying you want to represent. They should be saying, yep, we want you as our guy. I guess the last thing I want to talk about for the pay-per-view was just Jack Perry. And I guess maybe just the question I have for both of you. We saw the reaction from the crowd. I personally thought he came across like a really big deal.
That's an AEW crowd.
So, don't look at ratings. Don't look at anything it could have done for WWE. Only look at for AEW. If you saw the response Jack Perry got, you saw he was the reason why the Bucks won the championship. Did it make sense for Tony Khan to show the CM Punk all in footage?
With true blinders on to everything you said, I'm omitting all that other stuff because it was building to a storyline. It was worth it. And again, for the record, I still haven't seen this backstage video of the choking him up a little bit. But yes, to answer that question, if I can put blinders on to everything else, yes. But once I take it off, no. But that crowd response that night at Dynasty, it's yes to them.
Nope.
I think as much as I want to say yes, I think it's no for me too, just because it was real footage. And I said take out the WWE side of it, but you can't think about how some of the wrestlers could feel backstage that, hey, depending on what may happen here, this could end up being for public consumption at some point. I don't think you cross that line. But hey, look, I will say this though, E. He got a much better response than I thought he was going to get. I guess he also got a great response in Chicago at the NJPW show a week ago, which I didn't see anything from that. But yeah, so there he is now set up to succeed. So I do want to give AEW kudos for that, because he's a much bigger deal now than, say, if he would have just showed up that Wednesday after they fired Punk. I think he's a bigger deal now, but I think I would still lean toward no, even though it looks like it may have worked from a TV perspective.
That's Jungle Man.
Them fans was going to be there for it. They want to be there for it. Like, right? Like, that's the only thing about the show. They work so hard to give things away to people who already want it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Like, they want to be in, they want that. They were here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was surprise. Like, I don't know if it was surprise, actually. I think that a lot of people called him showing up for that card. Right? Like, but you think about it, like, all right, people already want him, but you got to think about on the business side, what does it do on the business side? Like, what am I really showing? What am I going to really gain from it? And obviously, they lost more than they gained, to be quite honest with you. They're going to get that pop either way.
But maybe you got more investment, you know, and I guess we'll see how that plays out over these next couple weeks. Last thing, and then Rhodesia, I know you have the comparison list, which is a perfect time to talk about it now, because we had talked about on Sunday's show, if we were to take like the top 10 AEW wrestlers, top 10 WWE wrestlers, like which ones are our favorite. But this is why I'm always going to have a love-hate relationship.
With what?
I'm always going to have a love-hate with AEW.
Okay.
So right before we pressed record, Tony Khan tweeted out, well, actually it wasn't right before, because it was a few hours. I had just saw it right before. Tomorrow, Daly's Place, Jacksonville. Swerve versus Kyle Fletcher. This is the love-hate relationship I have with AEW.
We don't need to talk about this.
The last hour and a half of Dynasty. I've come on here and talk about their pay-per-views are can't miss. No matter if you are on a hype meter from 0 to 10, by the time you watch the show, you're going to be like, that was worth my time. That was worth the effort. That was worth the money, et cetera, et cetera. This is what I talk about, though, when I talk about not being a TV product. Why the hell is Swerve wrestling Kyle Fletcher 3 days after he won the AEW championship in a title elimination match? No. If you want to put Kyle Fletcher in that spot so bad, you do some type of celebration, coronation with Swerve, and you have Kyle Fletcher interrupt that. And then you do the match next week. That is how you do television. This would be the equivalent of Cody taking on Ivar on the Raw after Mania. It just doesn't make sense. And I get their whole thing, right? This is where the best wrestle. I get that. I understand that. And champion it, because with Rhodesia's list that she's about to give us, we may say the best top tier are over at AEW. I don't know yet. But you have to be able to sell these shows, these pay-per-views. And what I saw a lot of, and I think Brandon even put it in the group chat on Sunday, and I saw it on social media. Man, this was before Bryan and Ospreay. Man, this feels like just a longer Dynamite show. And it shouldn't. The Dynamite shows should be set up there to get us invested in the characters and the stories to sell us on pay-per-views. The pay-per-views shouldn't feel like just a 4-hour Dynamite. So that's crazy talk.
I want to just address what you said right there. I think it comes down to, and again, this is just my own speculation. I think it comes down to Tony being a business guy, and he's marketing and he's trying to get people to view. But in the grand scheme of things, if you put on a good product, and then we can all agree these last couple months, again, I'll take away TV, like, having shows for TV. They've been putting together some really good shows. And I think what he just needs to rely more on is, hey, just know that if you continue to put on good shows, they will come. And just keep doing that instead of trying to, like you said, do that whole he's fighting Kyle Fletcher. Because to me, and I like Kyle and I like AEW, that makes absolutely no sense to me. Let's be completely honest. It doesn't. But like you said, the way you just booked that, hey, you getting your celebration on and now he interrupts. Now I can buy into, okay, what's happening here? Just commit to yourself, TK, of putting on good quality shows every week, multiple times a week. Commit to that. Have some stability there. Like Matt, you mentioned about Joe Rain as being champion. Bring stability to your show. And then they will come. And like you said, it just goes back to booking for television versus booking for indie shows.
Yep.
But you think about that match, man. Why the hell is the champion wrestling Kyle Fletcher?
That's what I'm saying.
That mofo ain't ranked.
But he
lost his last couple matches.
And you know the answer though, right, E? It's gonna be a banger.
Because it's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a good match.
Yep.
Which it will be.
We definitely know it's gonna be a great match. We definitely know it's going to be a great match. It's going to get the live crowd. Like, man, no, man. Like, you got your new champion. And so when I see this match, we already know who the winner's going to be. Right? So we already know who the winner's going to be. We know Kyle Fletcher there's no way he's going to win this match. No way. Right? So what are we getting at? What's at stake? Nothing. A good match for your champion. Crazy talk.
It's not for anything, though, right?
It's not. Well, no, it's the title eliminator. So if he wins, then he gets a title shot. Now, what I will say is this, and I don't know.
They could storytell though, real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we seen them once. Again, the protege now becomes better than their mentor. So we saw their first at bat together since Kyle has been up and bigger, and Will Ospreay. Now this would be their second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this would be their second. Now we can get that dissension within their group. What is the Don Callis? It's called the Don Callis family. Now we can kind of get some dissension and now move Will Ospreay completely away from that. Because again, he is a baby face. He's not a heel. So that would be the only reason. But we can have the same end result. You wrestling him this week. But maybe he, as he's celebrating or something like that with Swerve, like interrupt. You don't have to show your hand or show your card there. Like it is not needed.
Yeah, just slow down. Just slow down.
It is not needed.
because you're right, and that's where I said maybe something happens with Kyle, and then Ospreay
Mhm.
comes out, and we get it, but that's moving too fast. I don't know what's on the books. Maybe they plan on going Swerve and Ospreay at Double or Nothing next month. I hope that's not the case for Swerve. Who knows? Maybe Swerve beats Ospreay. You talk about making Swerve.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be?
Yeah.
And then maybe Ospreay gets a rematch at All In. I didn't even think about that.
That could happen.
So, all right, you know what? Entertain us.
But just don't tell us right now. You don't have to tell us right now. Like you said, before we record it, you did not have to see that. You could have just saw it on Dynamite.
Yeah, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. All right, Rhodesia, you got those 10 wrestlers?
Yeah,
so actually 20.
Yeah, so 10 on each side. I just try to pull it up off my memory and then off of what I just put up online. So you could probably pull some people off or put some people on. But right now, let's just go down AEW since we've been talking about AEW.
Okay.
So top 10.
Roderick Strong. 1 through 10.
Roderick, and Roderick.
And that was another match too. I'm watching it and I'm like, it looks like they're having a good match. I just don't care. Like,
it was a good match,
yeah.
From what I saw.
So do you still stand pat that you?
Hell yeah, 100%.
That
Orange Cassidy should not have had that championship. Yes, I stand pat on that. It wasn't more about the Roddy piece. It was more about getting Orange Cassidy off. He all right. It's time to do something else.
He became like a not a crutch to it, but what is it like? I don't know the phrase, but he became like his only identity was that, and like I thought his character would be capped. I also haven't seen a lot out of Orange either, but I've been not watching a lot of AEW television too, but I'm backed out in. So let's start off with AEW. We have Swerve.
Okay.
Will Ospreay.
Okay.
Samoa Joe.
Okay.
Tony Storm.
Okay, stop right there. That's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Give us 4 from WWE.
Okay, I'll just go in order. Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
Becky.
Okay.
Rhea.
Okay, stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 4, I'm going WWE.
Okay.
Would you say E?
I'll agree with you. Yep.
Okay. So then we'll pick
what'd you say,
back up
Rhodesia?
on...
Out of those 4.
Give it
to me. Give them to me again. Give it to me again.
So,
real quick, Rhodesia.
So we have AEW Swerve, Will Ospreay, Samoa Joe, and Tony Storm. And then we have Roman Reigns, Cody, Becky, and Rhea.
Definitely WWE.
Hell yeah. Like that's not those 4 is not even close.
But I would
to me.
I would put Will Ospreay and replace Becky with Will Ospreay. But if you had to just take
sure. Yeah, I mean 1 and 1, but you're talking when you started with Roman and Cody, I was already like, all right, well, it's gonna be WWE. Then you landed with Rhea on there third. Yeah, no. Yeah.
But see, I didn't rank these in any certain way. I
know.
Okay,
I just because like if you said like all 10 names, it would be hard to remember like the first couple. So I was like, all right, well, if you do like, the first 4 and then maybe the next 5 or whatever the case may be, it'd be a little bit easier.
Okay. So then pick up on AEW, we'll do 3 more. So we have Willow. I'm adding in MJF. And I'm adding in Adam Copeland.
I would not put Willow in the top 10 or Edge.
Okay.
She's champion.
I don't know.
That's the reason why I put her there.
Man.
And she's brought the headline or be big match, Double Nothing, her and babyface Mercedes Mone.
Are you putting Mercedes on that list?
Mercedes is on this list, yeah.
Okay. So then all right, so you got Willow, who?
MJF.
Okay.
And Cope. So then let's move Copeland out the way and put Mercedes. Mercedes' name was next. Again, this was in no particular order. So boom.
Yep. So what's the 3 on WWE side?
So the next is then Jey Uso, Gunther, and CM Punk.
Oh shit.
You ain't put Seth on there yet.
I haven't. And I haven't got somebody else on here either.
WWE.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Man, as much as I want to say AEW, just because now at this point, I don't think the last 4 can make up for.
No, they can't.
I gotta go WWE again.
Yeah.
All
right. What's the last 4?
All right. No, last 3. So then for AEW, I'm now stuck. I have Bryan, Mox, and then now I need a 10th person because we took off Copeland.
Put Copeland back on though. Christian.
Yeah, Christian. We'll go Christian.
Yeah, you got Christian you can go with. You have
we got Darby.
There's
I think those might be.
I mean, you can go Darby if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You
Orange
could go
Cassidy?
Orange Cassidy if you wanted to. You could. I mean, there's so many you could go with, and that's the thing about it too. Like, think about who we didn't see on that pay-per-view.
Right.
They have a whole nother pay-per-view lineup that they could use.
Mhm.
You didn't say Jay White, and we know
Mm-mm.
his booking has not been great,
No,
but he
not
still
But that's
probably
why I
should
wouldn't put him on the
be.
list. We know he
Yeah.
should be on the list,
Right.
but as
Yep.
presented, he's not on that list.
And you
I'll go
didn't.
Christian or Edge.
Okay.
And then,
All
so
right.
let's say Brian Mox,
Oh, we ain't talking
Christian
about
Edge,
Hangman, right?
Darby,
Hangman for sure. Put Hangman in there
Hangman.
Hangman.
for sure. Yep.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna do Brian and Mox as one. I'm gonna do
Yep.
Christian and Edge as I'm sorry, Adam as one. And then we have Darby and Hangman. So that brings us just kind of over 10.
All right. Yeah, give us whatever. Give us like 12. Okay.
Okay. Then
And
we
then you got
have
on the
Bailey, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and I thought I had the last one, but I don't have it here. Oh, and then we don't know yet, but McIntyre. Or do we know yet? Do we know yet? Has anything changed?
Well,
in
we
the
he's
last
still
few
don't
days?
still
know
there.
yet. But
He's
man,
still
I
there.
just don't know how he could not have re-signed
He's-
or have all plans of re-signing.
Put him on there.
That's arguable.
So you got
Damn,
Seth,
that's arguable. Yep.
Sammy, Drew,
Damian
and
and Bailey.
Versus Hangman, Adam and Christian.
Brian and
Mox and
Mox
Bryan.
and Darby
Bryan.
Allin.
I feel like AEW has more people, but maybe not. I'm not counting. That might be tied almost.
That would be that's a hard one to.
Because
If I still had to argue it though, I would say WWE on that.
you might because I would say Seth is the best out of that bunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I might go Drew over. I'll take Drew over.
We didn't say
Edge and
Okada.
Christian.
We didn't say Okada.
We didn't say
Just only
Okada.
because it was so fresh, but right,
I
we
get
didn't
it.
say
Yeah.
Okada.
I don't think that would have changed
Yeah,
in
no,
any
it wouldn't
grouping.
Take Darby out and put Okada.
Yeah.
Right. So you got. I'll take Drew over Edge or Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take
Same.
somebody. I'll take anybody over Bailey. To be honest with you. I like Bailey though, but I'll take any of them over Bailey.
I would probably agree with that. And that's not a knock on Bailey, but I would take Darby over Bailey. I would take Okada over Bailey. But yeah, I mean it's close.
But see, here's
It's close.
The fun thing though, outside of the top, the first bunch of grouping, again, you got Roman and Cody, so anybody for years ain't gonna touch that. But
Right.
if we could get some good episodic television out of
that's what I'm
AEW,
saying.
this would be a much
Yes.
closer. Okay, now it'll be just preference at that point. Who do you like more? It
Yep.
wouldn't be anything else other than. Well, I guess all lists is who you like more. But if they booked episodic television like episodic show should, I don't want to bring up the comparison, but if you are booking for weekly television, if your soap opera is weekly television, then this would be so much closer.
Which then tells you that the answer probably should be AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're taking this on face value of in-ring talent, presentation that we know is not the most conducive for the talent themselves. And we sitting here kind of like him and Eshaun a little bit on that third tier out of the 10.
Mm-hmm.
It means it should be AEW if we were getting that character development and storyline progression the way we like it. Because, people can argue that there were a ton of stories heading into Dynasty. I just didn't care about them.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think they were done properly.
Because they're very shallow. They're like the way AEW does their stories. It's a excuse to have the match versus the other way around.
That's a good point. It's a good.
So
call.
when you mentioned about Raw. Now I actually had to watch. I had to skim through a good chunk of wrestling of Raw because I didn't get a chance to watch it yesterday, and I was trying to watch it before the show. But I tried to watch most of the major segments, and I enjoyed the character stuff. I mean, there was a lot to go on. I mean, there's something going on with Gunther and the Imperium imploding.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jey Uso and Damian Priest in the beginning of it. You had a Chad promo, kind of turning, and then kind of disrespecting the rest of the team. I mean, there's a couple of story things that was going on. Now, some of those matches I kind of fast forward through to get to the finishes. But overall, if you think about from a story perspective, it reminds me of one of those, when you watch Flash and that episode is just there for character development. It doesn't have a lot of action. It doesn't have a lot of highs, but it's just there to forward stories. And I think that show did that.
Or it's a good example of kind of where we are back in the day. And because you don't really see it now, the TV shows do a really good job of maximizing like each episode. But back in the day, the episode before the season finale, a lot of times that episode was missable. And with the draft being starting Friday on SmackDown and then Monday on Raw, it felt like that. It felt like a lot of stuff was kind of in a holding pattern, but we are talking King and Queen of the Ring, Backlash, and we got our draft. But but more than that, like the first 45 minutes or so, it wasn't clicking. And like I said, that's okay. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. Like when I looked at Priest did not have a good night on the mic. But that's okay because
he looked good, though.
So you didn't like that segment.
He looked good.
So y'all didn't like that. Y'all didn't like that segment. You don't like the segment either, Rhodesia?
I probably was just googly eyeing over him, so I can't probably answer that fair. I didn't think it was bad, but again,
I thought it was really good when Jay turned up at the end. That was when it kicked up. But it just wasn't good, and that's fine. That's okay because I'm the one that says let the talent have more freedom. And when they go out there and they have a clinker or clunker, cool, learn from it. I'd much rather have that than watching him try to memorize lines out there, which we've seen him do that before. So, but I was okay with that. But you brought up Raw. Let's start with Becky Lynch. Becky winning the Battle Royal. Boy, all of a sudden.
Yo, first off,
all of a sudden.
Y'all some mean people out there. I can't do this internet stuff.
I think a lot of y'all was the same people just 2 weeks ago saying how
right.
Becky jobbed to Rhea and made Becky look horrible at Mania, but now all of a sudden, Becky gets the championship for an unforeseen injury.
To keep stability on that title, because I think that's all it really is.
And Liv Morgan said last Monday, this is the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. This is not a Liv Morgan Revenge show or concert. A tour means there is multiple dates until we get to the last one. She would not have said that last Monday if she was going to win the championship. I thought maybe, okay, Nia, it could have been put on Nia, right? But if it's not going to be put on Nia, Becky was the person to put it on. Because we still got to tell this Liv story. You don't stop the Liv story because this was a story she was on before Rhea got hurt. So this isn't something that's new. Like, you continue to tell that story. And I put it on X. And I'll ask you guys, I was blown away by the response because I thought Triple H had built up enough equity with the fan base to say, how about we just let the story play out? Let's watch the story. Outside of LA Knight, I think everybody else, and maybe you could argue Drew McIntyre. Maybe, even though Drew's doing some incredible work, you can maybe argue and say he should be champion. But outside of LA Knight, I think they've done everybody extremely well. So I would have thought people would have been like, all right, well, I can't wait to see what they do with Liv. But man, that wasn't that. It was a ton of negativity surrounding, here we go again. Why they keep giving Becky don't ever put nobody over, which kind of Becky, all she ever does is put people over at the end of her stories. But what'd you guys think of that?
If we go back to our predictions for Mania, I actually thought that Becky was going to win the championship. Did I agree with it? That's for a debate, but I did think that she was going to leave Mania as a champion. I can appreciate y'all saying, no, don't take it off of Rhea. Let's bring this into next year, maybe even Rhea and Bianca. I can appreciate that, but in my mind, I thought Becky was winning. Okay, so now we fast forward to 3 weeks out, or 4 weeks out, however long it's been now, and she wins. Now we get the money shot. We get the three of them in the ring. We get Liv, Nia, and Becky in the ring. Great aerial view of it. Again, this is what's the guy name? The new Kevin Dunn.
You want to call him just the new Kevin Dunn?
New Kevin Dunn. Let's roll with that. Let's go with the new Kevin Dunn. I think his interesting last name. So new Kevin Dunn. We got that aerial view. Boom, money shot. Love it. Beautiful. And now I am starting to think, okay, it's Nia. Because at first I was like, well, then now it's going to be Liv. Got to be Liv. And then now you have that built-in story. When Rhea comes back, you got Liv and Rhea to go at it. But then you see how Nia showed up to the show looking like just beautiful and gorgeous. She's looking great out in the ring.
Man,
I call it she had WrestleMania gear on to me, but literally Becky had WrestleMania gear on and won. But I'm thinking, okay, maybe Nia is about to go over. Let her hold it for the months until Rhea comes back. I don't really have a problem with Becky winning because right now, yes, Triple H, WWE has built equity up within me to let that story play out. So I'm not upset. But when I saw, and even if I was, I'm definitely not like what I was seeing on the internet. I mean, people were going ham. And I'm just like, dang, like, y'all, this is a point of contention for y'all. It's like that deep. Like, okay, whatever. But again, just sit back and let it play out.
You know, I was telling you, Rhodesia, about the internet, about how a lot of people aren't on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the vocal minority. It's the vocal minority. It's the people who show up and mark out at the AEW shows. It's them folks. That's why you don't write
AEW shows.
That's why you don't write TV for them folks, because they always online talking shit. That's all they do is hold the phone and talk shit. That's all they do. I mean, that's why I don't be on there. That's why I've always told y'all from day one when we do this, don't take these people seriously, because they fickle as hell. One day the wind blows to the left, 5 minutes later it's blowing to the right. You can't call it with them folks, man. Look, at the end of the day, let them tell their story. Like, do you want Liv to win it in this fluky, type of fashion?
And that's
or do you want or do you want them, because see, Becky is safe because they can continue to tell the story that they wanted to tell. Whatever, right? Because Rhea is in a pseudo face role anyway. Right? She's going to get the cheers, so they can continue to tell the stories that they want to tell while Becky kind of holds the fort. And guess what? A lot of people, look, as I said, it's been well documented. I haven't been into Becky's run that much this year, but I also realized that she's very popular with the WWE audience. So she's safe for them going to the draft. She can add some stability to the title when they figure things out. Is she going to be a long-term champion? Maybe or maybe not, right? We all know that the title is Rhea's for wherever she comes. Hopefully that's sooner than later, right? We all know that Rhea has something coming up. It'd be nice to have something, a surprise. Like, I was hoping that, Nia Jax would win the match, because she looking good. Like, too. Mm-hmm. I love how she got in that spot with the championship, right? She
how funny was she? Was on one Monday.
She looked great too, like that. But she something going. She can't break over her face.
She can't break a table worth of damn. But she was on one on Monday.
I got it. Okay. It's our nemesis, man. But look,
there's a couple.
Everything's all good.
It's a couple things that Matt would do on Twitter that I think is just quite clever. I think there's a lot of things Matt does just in life is pretty clever. One, we got the solo music. Oh, got the solo music every time we get that twerking music out.
I'm gonna hit that.
That's like Easter egg for people. So whenever maybe I'm not gonna give it away. Keep it as Easter egg. That, and when you sit up here and last night put out tables 2, Nia and Becky 0. Dude, I literally, like, full transparency, I laughed so hard last night watching Raw. I damn near ran into the wall trying to mimic, because again, karma's a mother effer, right? Like I literally almost ran into the wall window because I'm trying to mimic Nia trying to pick Piper back on her back to Samoan drop her. Because I'm kind of all over the place right now. Let's go back to the choke slam. Now, this isn't true. What I was saying, the Undertaker only got 5 inches off the ground. She really only did it like 2 inches off the ground. That's why the table didn't break. There was no height in the choke slam. So then she
no velocity,
no momentum, no nothing,
no miles per hour.
So then, I guess we already know that Nia blew herself up in backstage before the match even started. So I'm like, y'all wasting up all this energy. I don't mean to project here. So she wastes all her energy back out there, come out to outside, try to do choke slam, didn't get no height off of it. Then think she can just go straight from a deadlift to Samoa dropper. Nia almost fell flat on her face.
Stop. Hey, look, we just not too much on Nia. We just talked about how Nia's been great.
Nia.
But you don't. Not from this.
What I'm saying is, like, because I blow myself up on the basketball court. So just by running.
You know what's hilarious about Rhodesia? She will always put herself in one of these situations, E. So, like, no matter what the hell is going on, she'll be like, man, if that was me, like, Rhodesia's not you. Okay? Like, you're fucking not a UFC fighter, Rhodesia. You're not a fucking wrestling star. Stop comparing yourself to anything you see on television, sweetheart. Please, stop doing that.
That's what we're supposed to do.
We're watching a football game. Woo! 80 yards. If that was me, it ain't you. It ain't you. All right, last time we played flag
You
football,
didn't see my man. Come on,
you
go
went
say
10 yards, and that was it.
Sir, I was playing against
Enough.
dudes.
Enough.
I was playing against dudes, okay? So give me my credit there. Point is, I just thought it was funny, just the whole thing. Because I'm like, listen, just like when I used to play SmackDown versus Raw, right? You know, you tap that analog stick, you tap in the later years of the video game, you tap it too many times, your stamina is just now shot. There's nothing left. So I'm like, Nia, stop hitting the analog stick.
And the bad part was they had to put Becky through the table because Becky had to tell that story of being put through the table, laid out, and then crawl back in the ring. And when she just kept trying, I was like, oh my God, man, y'all just cannot fight these tables. I would love to see a backlash. Team up, Becky and Nia versus just two tables. I just want to see who would win. They would do the job again to the tables.
And then look, after I almost got a concussion because I almost ran into the wall. I finally get myself together, right? I'm back together. We come back from commercial break. And they had to show us through Powerbomb that table broke.
I was like, poor Becky. Becky was like a rag doll. I know Becky was like, if y'all don't put me through this fucking table, like, this show ends at 11 o'clock. We can't continue this. Like, do something. That's hilarious, man.
I love you, Nia, though.
You did. You said all that just to say I love you, Nia.
Yeah, because I don't want no smoke. Listen, okay, if it was me, I wouldn't have had anything left after fighting backstage before the match starts. So
we know we've already kind of clumped you in where that would look like already, Rhodesia. So you don't have to say if it was me. We got you. We know it was you. But yeah, so Becky's got the championship. Yeah, just let it play out because I don't think Liv gets anything from winning that match in a battle. Liv is going. Mark it down. Episode
128.
Episode 128. Mark it down. Liv Morgan is going to be a much bigger deal at the end of this storyline than she is right now, and then she is if she would have won that championship on Raw Monday. Guaranteed. And her and Dom backstage, you could take that look for a couple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun to see how that plays out. You also brought up Chad Gable. I'll tell you what I loved about the Chad Gable piece, and this is the writing of WWE. So he goes out there and destroys Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
Right? Just goes in hard on them. And then Maxine, in a non-related storyline in terms of that Battle Royal, like implements what he just talked about. I thought that was genius. Typically, like, storylines stay with storylines. Like, you don't get a lot of, like, cross-pollination of storylines. So, like, so for them to, like, say, all right, well, we're going to have earlier in the show, Chad, you know what? And we're going to give Maxine a couple of hope spots that she actually may win it based off of what Chad just told her. I thought that was genius. I really enjoyed that.
We've been getting a lot of that on that show. Storylines blending into other situations, and as it should, right? Because she's part of one, and especially if they're trying to make a character shift, it will make sense that you will see that character shift in the next moment, right? Because then now Chad has to talk to her about, like, yo, I just told you this is what we gonna do. So I think it's good stuff.
It is just so next level writing. And I remember saying this before that a few years ago, my appreciation for wrestling changed when I was able to kind of be around like the indies and kind of see like the hustle and grind in it. My appreciation for wrestling changed. And we watched The Wrestler on Netflix. I think that's what it's called. With Al Snow. I don't know I call him Al Snow. And just to see like how sometimes in those episodes, how intense it is for him to write a show once a week with maybe 4 or 5 to 6 matches every night per card. And to just see how intense it is for him to like tell that story. And just now imagine now you have to do 3 shows, if you include NXT, 3 shows a week, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, just how exhausting that is. And then, like you said, you get this bleed over, this cross-pollination of storyline. It's just next level. It's just next level. And the people who are in those rooms, in those writing rooms, they're doing it. Hopefully they can sign you. Hey, plug out to WWE.
Hey, they ignore me.
Get mad at
They had
him.
a what was that? What was that position in NXT? It was like a associate writer or something like that. Yeah, call me back.
Please.
I'll move down to Florida.
Please.
You know the shows we would
I'm
have.
tired of working.
Actually, I don't even know like how that would look. I don't know, but yeah, call me back. Let's talk. So we had that. The other part that I'm like personally excited for, because y'all know how I feel about DIY. Ciampa's over it. He's over this losing shit, and he's about to explode and break Gargano's neck, like old school NXT, and Gargano's gonna come back months later, and it's gonna be a big pop. But I'm really excited about that storyline, because I think telling that story on the main roster can be really, really good.
And mainly because we knew that they weren't going to win the championships. So we know the potential that's there between the two of them. I think people who haven't followed them in NXT are like, who's these jobbers? So I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to build them, and you can introduce them again as solo acts, maybe going against each other. But I think this is because we know that they weren't going to win the championships. I wouldn't want them to.
I got another news flash for y'all.
Uh-oh.
Nobody give a damn.
Yeah.
About Johnny Gargano.
But that's why they can build to this now.
They look, that man been on that main roster for 5 years now. if we ain't give a damn about him 4 years ago, we ain't gonna give him damn about him just because he get beat up. So what?
Do y'all think that they wrote Giovanni off? I mean, now that it's like these like releases are sporadic, like we just got Cameron Grimes by himself this morning. Like typically, you know, they're all kind of punched together, and then we had the 5 on Friday, whatever that was. After I didn't think about it during, I was like, okay, because like Giovanni by himself, I don't know if there's really money in it. He's a hell of a worker.
No,
I don't know if there's money in that. But then when I saw Cameron Grimes, and I think Eternal may have even when I posted it, and he said like, I'm like petrified for Giovanni. And I was like, damn, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that could be a write-off for sure. But now that like they're kind of just letting these folks go, that like, so if people don't know, because I saw somebody say like, why wouldn't they just put Cameron Grimes back on to NXT, because that's where he was working great at. They break up the contracts. So like if you are a main roster talent, they're looking at you to perform at a main roster level. So that was the thing about, what's the big guy that was on NXT?
Wagner.
Yeah,
Gosh.
Wagner.
Oh.
I guess he was looked at as like a main roster guy that was never on the main roster. So allegedly that was the reason why he was cut or terminated. It was because, okay, we have you pegged as a main roster guy, and we don't see you in that. You're not doing that right now. So that could be the thing about Cameron Grimes, but I am a little worried about Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that wasn't a write-off. And I thought that was great too, the way they did that. But I was like, man, I hope that's sheesh.
That makes a lot of sense, because when I saw it, the same thing as I was talking about with DIY, right? With Gargano, it works a little bit better when they're faces. One guy can turn heel. Like, it doesn't work as well, in my opinion, when it's two heels, right? Because I don't like why. I have sympathy for Giovanni. He's been healing this entire time, right? Until he got beat up. Right. You think I would care when he comes back? But maybe he ain't coming back. And usually these releases are guys who they're not using, right? Sometimes you can see the writing on the wall for some of these guys. Like, right, well, Van Wagner, he had been on NXT for quite some time. He has been featured in storylines, but look, his matches, the character, he's been featured, but I haven't cared about his stuff. I typically fast forward through his stuff.
He's one of the ones I would fast forward through. Yep.
Sorry to that man.
I've said, like, when I watch NXT, as much as I love NXT, because I do, there's always like 1 or 2 segments that I fast forward through.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in his ring work, his character work. I wasn't interested in none of the stuff he does. But like Vinci, I mean, I like the tag team. He's a tag team guy, right? He needs somebody else who had personality and a little more swag. He kind of was a little generic, but man, it makes sense. I don't see where he goes unless he's going back down to NXT, right? Like, do they just split him up with the draft and he just?
Yeah, like the way it happened, you don't see money in a feud between them.
No,
like, right? That's not. Yeah, that's not what that looks like. That would be. It looks like, oh, okay, well, they're done with him.
No one's cheering that man.
Yeah.
Damn.
What else? What else from Raw? Was there anything else y'all wanted to talk about?
I just want to hear about some stuff that E has.
Oh, 2K.
Mm-hmm.
So you came out here a couple weeks ago and talked about, you gave a PSA around 2K24, and then it looks like you need to give another PSA because people getting banned, people showing boobs. What's going on out here, man?
Yeah, so another update. So like there's a creator, crawl creator named What's the Status? Very popular guy, beloved within the community. And he's a modder in a different way. He actually mods and uploads content to consoles. And what he specializes in, and which is what people love about him, he actually finds like hidden models, characters. One crawl he had uploaded just recently was an Adam Cole crawl, and he had found hidden lines of dialogue that was still in the game for his old Bebe taunts. So he had uploaded the Adam Cole with the hidden like Bebe taunt. So when he does the two fingers thing, he'll say Bebe. I'm not sure if he had it in this year, but last year during the entrance when he did like the pose down, he did the Bebe. You heard the Bebe or you heard the boom, like right. So he had found a lot of those hidden things. He will upload them. So recently, his content was getting taken down. I think everything he was doing was just getting
taken down through 2K.
Through 2K via the creation suite. So when you can go online and you go to search for content, upload it to the creation suite, like his stuff was getting taken down.
Okay.
I think everything he did. This was in a 24-hour period.
But real quick, isn't that stuff downloaded to your own system? Or is it into like their network?
So once, let's say I made a crawl, right? And you downloaded it, right? You got it on your content. Now 2K takes it down, you still keep it because it's downloaded, it's on your system. But let's say Matt goes to try to find that
it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore for him.
Got it.
So they were going like once it's on your console, it's on your console. They can't do anything about that. But
it's like download music.
Wouldn't be the access
basically, you download the song and then you add it to your library. No matter if they pull it, you have it. But if you don't download it to your library,
I have nothing in my library.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't have that J. Cole album because he pulled it. I got it.
So yeah, they removing his content. And so I guess yesterday is when it happened. 2K permanently banned him, his account. Like,
did they give him like any? Do you know, like, was there any warnings of like?
I don't think there's a warning because he was kind of going through back and forth trying to find out what was going on with his account when they were removing content. And then yesterday he just posted online that he was permanently banned from online, and that's big. Like right, like you're just permanently banned from online. So I don't know if that's his IP address or whatnot, but as of right now, the What's the Stats account is permanently banned. He cannot upload anything to CC, and it created quite an upload.
Question: so he's only bringing light to what's already in the game.
Yeah,
correct. So he didn't put anything into the game. He didn't add anything that wasn't already there. All he did was utilize the coding that was there to make characters or whatever he was doing. Right.
Yep. He was unlocking the hidden content.
That's
like
crazy.
Commentary lines, taunts. He wasn't able to do it as much this year, but did previously hidden characters, hidden attires, etc. He was uploading them.
So I think that what I'm hearing is where he messed up at is he's getting paid for this. Is that what it is?
No, he's doing it for free for the community's enjoyment.
Come on.
He's doing it for free.
Wow.
He doing it. He doing it for the folk. He doing it for the folk. And so I want to say, number one, for me, like I stand with the community. I support modders. I support all creators. And I want to say this too, with 2K, like they're going after this guy for uploading this content. But I said it online. This happened last year. It wasn't recently. This was last year in 2K23. I'm downstairs. I go to the creation suite. The kids are downstairs, and I think, my son, like, so just for people listening, so they can kind of get like a visual. So in my Big Daddy cave, I have a section to my left just for the kids and their stuff. Then I have my own section with my own stuff. So they stay away from that. But at this point, my oldest son was in the kids section, which is to the left. They can't really see the TV. My youngest child, who was 4 at the time, he was on the rug and he was playing with his toys. Usually I don't let them bring their toys over there. I want them to get the idea of, I like them kind of getting used to playing in my area. But I was letting them, play on the rug, which is directly in front of the TV. I hop online. I go into the community creation to see what my favorite creators have for me. As soon as I open into the creator suite, nothing but tits, booties, cocks, and balls all over creation suite, right? And so
they have some Roman cocks and balls.
Ma'am, this isn't the time.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God! See,
sorry.
This isn't the time, ma'am.
Sorry.
This woman. I don't know what kinds of cocks and balls it was, but it was cocks and balls, titties, and booties. Okay.
Rhodesia is the monitor. Did you see the name on the?
And so
I did it.
And so, my oldest son, he can't see it, right? But he can walk over. What if he just walked over? He sees what's on the screen, right? My little man, I look down at him. He's engulfed in his toy, so he's not looking up. So I try to switch to a different page really quick, right? I don't know why I said how long I switched from the page. More cocks and balls.
Sorry.
More of them. So this time, now I'm being smart. I just hop out of it, right? And I look down. I don't want them to see what's on the screen. Right? Hate it. Really irritated because you know me, I'm protective of kids and their innocence, especially my kids and their innocence. So I didn't want them to see this content. So, I just hop out of that, chill out. I'm looking around, like, okay, everything's cool. They didn't see this, right? So I go back, and the content is still up there. It was up there for at least like a couple hours, right? So I'm going down flagging everything. I'm flagging it. So now I don't know what happens to these people accounts once you flag from inappropriate content. I know that if they pull it down and they investigate it, so I don't know what happens to them. I don't know if these people get permanently banned. Right. I will hope these people will get a permanent IP ban, right? Because if they're just banning that one account, it's going to stop them from
making another one,
account,
right?
Do another one,
and putting up more cocks, right? So
and balls.
Terrible. So we talking about this one guy who's uploading content
that's already there.
Hitting or not, right?
That's there.
They permanently banning this guy, but obviously people are still allowed to, or not, they're not allowed to, but they're finding a way to upload booties, cocks, and asses. Right? Shouldn't they be focusing on creating a safe, creative environment for children or people who may see this content? Shouldn't they focus their attention on taking care of that? Right?
My whole thing is this, and I that's way above my pay grade and over my head, but he's unlocking something that's already in code. Remove it from your code then. If you don't want it unlocked, remove it.
That's the big thing. Remove it. So now I will say this too. So it also fix your game because there's still some bugs that are kind of silly, right? Focus on creating a safe online environment for families. Fix your bugs. But instead they're going after creators, they're going after modders, right? Now at the end of the day, I will say this, right? We can't fight the people. We can try as much as we want. 2K don't want us unlocking the content that they hide for whatever reason, legalities, who knows, whatever the reason. They don't want people doing it. I think they've been pretty adamant about this, and they don't want us uploading it officially. Guys, join Discovery, join PWM. These are modding PC. You can do what you want on your own game, right? Let's not upload it officially through 2K's channels because we know they don't want that. They don't like it. They're hiding this for whatever reason. They got a problem with it, so now they're coming after people, right? They're coming after this guy. They're coming after modders. They're adding these different blocks so I can't mod my game. They're making it harder for us to get the content in the game that we want. Just come to the PC. Do whatever you want to do on your game for free, however you want to do it. Let's stop effing with 2K and uploading to I don't get it. I don't get why you want to fight these battles because at the end of the day, it's a game and it's for fun. Right? I just don't see why if Matt, for whatever reason, I don't agree with it. He don't want to wear the color blue, but I keep sending him blue shirts. At some point, he gonna block me. Right? Just stop doing stuff people don't want you to do. And if you're gonna do it in private. It's look, I can't smoke weed at work.
But you can drink it on the TFW podcast.
I can just do it at home.
Let's go.
Now, again, I don't smoke marijuana. I don't actually like smoking.
And we know you don't smoke it, man, but you drink it.
Yeah.
It's in that tea.
Coke. You know, it's that
You know
Coke.
what? I would.
Oh.
Hey, I have had some cocoa, and at first I didn't think, oh, like I don't like the
Excuse
smell of marijuana.
So,
Yeah, I don't like.
you
He
you've
said
had some what?
cocoa.
It's cocoa. You never had a cocoa bomb?
Okay,
Or marijuana?
I didn't know if Riverside was
Whoa.
jacking up again, and you was like, "Hey, I had some
No.
Coke," and I didn't know if it was
Cocoa.
like Coke,
Well,
Okay,
cocoa
got
Hot
it.
plant.
cocoa.
The cocoa
like
plant.
chocolate.
is
Hot
Coke.
cocoa. Hot cocoa.
Got it. Okay.
Man, I don't know. I don't know you people anymore. I don't know what y'all doing over there. Now I
Man,
kind
you
of
the
get
one.
how y'all up at 4:00 in the morning. Now I kind of get how Rhodesia is up at 4:00 in the morning on a work.
You
day.
are not the first
Right, I
person to
get
say
it.
that.
I get it.
We don't partake in those type of things. Okay.
I get it.
We don't have to. We're high on
Wait.
life.
There we go.
The energy.
Well,
But
let's
yeah,
wrap
so
it up, 'cause
2K,
we at
figure it
hour
out,
40,
man.
We at
Figure it
hour
out,
40.
2K. Y'all need to figure it out. And if worst case you don't figure it out, AEW Fight Forever is still out there at full price,
I think we should end the show
$39.99.
there. I think we should.
You can play as Kenny Omega.
You still know if you want to buy that game or not, Matt?
Dude, Amazon
still
had
don't
it,
know?
and I missed it. Amazon had it for PS5 for $9.99.
Oh,
Still
come
too
And the
on.
first 5 comments said it's still not worth it.
Still not enough.
I closed the
Still
damn
not
app.
enough.
That's a
Still
wrap,
not
guys. We out of here. We back on Sunday. God willing and Riverside willing that they actually load us up properly. We got the draft on Friday to start, so we can talk about that. What we think is going to happen on Raw on Monday. We got Dynamite, of course, tonight. If you listen to it on Wednesday, to see how they come out after Dynasty and whatever else craziness happens in the world of professional wrestling. We did the socials already. We did all that. We getting y'all out of here. Thank you guys again for listening to us. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you on the next one. Peace.